Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a health condition that affects millions and millions of people. But honestly, it's often dangerously misunderstood. We're talking about hypertension, or as you probably know it, high blood pressure.
It's got this really chilling nickname, the silent killer. And there's a very, very good reason for that. See, hypertension often works completely under the radar, with no symptoms at all, quietly causing damage inside your body until, for some people, it's just too late.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll break down exactly why it's called the silent killer. Then we're going to decode those blood pressure numbers. After that, we'll look at the risk factors, uncover the hidden dangers, and then, this is the important part, we'll talk about how you can take control. Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, the silent killer. Here's the thing. The biggest danger with hypertension isn't really the condition itself. It's the fact that it's so incredibly easy to ignore because you feel totally, completely fine. And that's the absolute core of the problem. You can be going about your day feeling perfectly normal while inside, that high blood pressure is silently putting a massive strain on your most vital organs. We're talking heart, brain, kidneys, you name it. So, this brings us right to our second section, understanding your numbers. Because if you can't feel high blood pressure, what's the only way to know you have it? You've got to measure it. So let's break down what those numbers actually mean. At its most basic, hypertension just means the force of your blood pushing against your artery walls is consistently higher than it should be. A great way to picture it, think of a garden hose with the water cranked up way too high all the time. That constant pressure starts to wear things out. Now, when you get a blood pressure reading, you always see two numbers, right? Well, that top number, the systolic pressure, that's the force when your heart is actively beating and pushing blood out. And the bottom number, the diastolic, that's the pressure when your heart is at rest, in between beats. So what are we aiming for? Well, a healthy target is generally right around 120/80. That mmHg just stands for millimeters of mercury. It's just the standard unit of measurement. Just think of 120/80 as that perfect, healthy benchmark. Okay, which leads us to our next big question in Section 3. What actually causes this? Knowing your risk factors is truly the first step toward preventing it in the first place. A lot of the biggest risks, well, they come down to our daily lifestyle choices. For example, a diet that's super high in salt makes your body hold on to extra water. More water means more blood volume, and more volume means higher pressure. Things like physical inactivity, carrying extra weight, and using tobacco or too much alcohol are also major players here. But, and this is important, it is not all about lifestyle. Some things are just out of our hands. Your risk goes up if high blood pressure runs in your family, genetics. It also tends to increase as we get older, or if you have other conditions like kidney disease or sleep apnea. All right, we need to talk about the really serious side of this now, the hidden dangers. This is what can happen when high blood pressure is just left to do its thing, completely unchecked. Now, while it's mostly silent, in some really severe cases, a few warning signs might pop up. Things like intense headaches, feeling short of breath, or even getting nosebleeds. But here's the crucial part. These are incredibly rare. You absolutely cannot wait for symptoms to show up before you take this seriously. Think about it this way. That constant high pressure forces your heart to work so much harder to pump blood. It's like your heart is lifting heavy weights 24/7 with no rest. Over time, that relentless strain can weaken the heart muscle, and that can lead to some really serious problems, like heart failure. And then there's stroke. Hypertension is a leading cause of it. That immense pressure year after year can weaken the blood vessels in your brain. It makes them more likely to either burst open or get blocked by a clot. And either way, that cuts off vital oxygen and blood flow to the brain. Your kidneys are your body's amazing filtration system, but they're full of these tiny, delicate blood vessels. When they're under constant high pressure, those little vessels get damaged. This messes with your kidney's ability to filter out waste, and over time, that can lead to kidney failure. It can even impact your eyesight. Believe it or not, high pressure can damage those super sensitive blood vessels in the retina, at the very back of your eye. There's a name for it, hypertensive retinopathy. And it can lead to blurred vision, or even, in the worst cases, permanent vision loss. Okay, I know that was all pretty heavy, but here's the good news, and it's really good news. Let's pivot to Section 5, taking control of your health. Because hypertension is absolutely manageable, and in many cases, even preventable. Here is a clear 5-step action plan. Focus on a healthy diet, like the DASH diet. Try to get about 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. That makes your heart stronger, so it pumps more blood with less effort. Then limit alcohol, find healthy ways to manage your stress, and of course, check your blood pressure regularly. And look, the payoff for making these changes is absolutely real. This isn't just some theoretical advice. As you can see right here, the actions we just talked about can have a direct, measurable, and significant impact on lowering your blood pressure. Now, for a lot of people, those lifestyle changes go hand in hand with medical management. This might mean medications prescribed by your doctor. Regular monitoring at home is often a huge part of the routine, and working with your healthcare team and even finding support groups can make all the difference. So, if you only take one single thing away from our entire conversation today, please let it be this: you cannot manage what you don't measure. The single most important step you can possibly take is the very first one, just knowing their numbers.
And so we'll leave you with this one simple question, but it might be the most important one you ask yourself all day. When was the last time you had your blood pressure checked? Thanks so much for joining us.